guys, Ghost here. Just letting you know there is gonna be disclaimer for murder, and I think I mentioned raped once. And yeah, so if there is anything that you don't like about that, you should probably skip this episode. Okay, bye. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back to the next episode of Tea Party with Ghosts. I am Ghost.
I'm Ash.
And hi. So, what kind of tea are you drinking tonight?
Earl Grey again, as last week.
And I have Lady Grey. So,
Delicious.
we just got the Greys.
Yep.
So, we are taking a road trip to Arizona.
Ooh.
Yeah, Arizona. I can't remember if it's Arizona or New Mexico. Has some of the weirdest ass names of towns I've ever heard. Like, there's one called Truth or Consequences is the name of the town.
Huh.
Yeah, let me look real quick and see if that was in New Mexico or Arizona. Almost. Yeah, it's New Mexico, so.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Those two states kind of, like, seem the same to me because, you know, we don't live anywhere near there, so.
All other states are fictional.
Yeah. Except for, like, the southeast, because, you know, that's where we're immediately at.
Yeah.
And Florida's just its own goddamn cryptid. So.
Florida's just Florida.
And I was born there. But.
Goodness.
Yeah. So, anyways, we are taking a road trip to Arizona. And so we're going to hear the story of Bob Crane. Now, Robert Edward Crane, also known as Bob Crane, was born on July 13th, 1928 in Waterbury, Connecticut. He spent his teenage years playing the drums and organizing marching bands. He knew he wanted to be in the show business and use music as his ticket. Crane joined the Connecticut Symphony Orchestra while still in school and graduated in 1946. After a stint in the Connecticut National Guard, Crane took to local radio and became a fledgling tri-state area broadcaster. His witty disposition led CBS to hire him as a host at their flagship KNX station in 1956. He interviewed Marilyn Monroe, Bob Hope, and Charlton Heston. Actor Carl Reiner was so impressed by Crane that he offered the radio host a guest spot on the Dick Van Dyke Show. That led to a role on the Donna Reed Show, and Crane's agent became inundated with others and soon sent him a controversial script that Crane initially mistook for an insensitive drama. "Bob, what are you talking about? This is a comedy," said the agent. "These are the funny Nazis."
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, yeah, Crane wasn't necessarily, like, the best person.
Sounds like it.
Well, he did think this was insensitive, but he does something later that I, myself, personally find despicable. Anyways, Hogan's Heroes premiered in the fall of 1965 and was an immediate success. Despite being a sitcom with a laugh track, it stood out with risque World War II humor that saw Crane's titular character pull the rug out from under Nazi officers. Newly famous, Crane began philandering with abandon while married with children. He collected allegedly consensual nude photos and films of his sex partners and showed them off so frequently with cast and crew members that his dressing rooms became known as Porn Central.
Oh, God.
And once even while filming a Disney movie.
That's disgusting.
Yes. However, when executives found out, Crane's career dried up.
Good.
One of Bob Crane's mistresses was Hogan's Heroes co-star Patricia Olson. She became his second wife in 1970, and the couple had 2 children. With Crane's sexual exploits in the tabloids, however, his marriage and career floundered. He followed the few opportunities he had left in Scottsdale, where he would be found murdered while starring in a self-produced play.
Plot twist.
Yes. So, yeah, he was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, on June 29th, 1978, Victoria Ann Barry, one of Crane's co-stars, called 911 after discovering his body. It was the same day that his son was flying into town to visit his father. Police were unable to identify Crane due to the extent of his injuries.
Damn.
And located the apartment leaseholder, Windmill Dinner Theater manager Ed Beck. There was no way I could identify him from one side. The other side, yes. Improper procedure tainted the Bob Crane murder scene almost immediately. Barry was allowed to use the phone repeatedly while the Maricopa County medical examiner climbed over Crane's body and shaved his head to examine the wounds. Even Crane's son, Robert, was allowed inside the first floor apartment.
What the fuck?
He was 2 weeks shy of 50, recalled Robert. He says, I am making changes. I'm divorcing Patty. He wanted to lose people like John Carpenter, who had become a pain in the butt. He wanted a clean slate. John Carpenter was a regional Sony sales manager who had helped Crane with the photo and video equipment to document his sex life. Wait, the John Carpenter. Is it the John Carpenter who did Halloween? Because if so, that dude's a piece of shit too.
Yeah.
And when the women who fell by Crane's wayside no longer landed on Carpenter's lap after Crane's work dried up, he was purportedly furious. Robert believes that if it was Carpenter who killed his father, Robert believes that it was Carpenter who killed his father. They had a breakup of sorts, said Robert, of an angry altercation between the two men on the night Crane died. Carpenter lost it. He was being rejected. He was being spurned like a lover. There were eyewitnesses that night at a club in Scottsdale that said they had an argument, John and my dad. So who killed the Hogan's Hero star? A lack of forced entry suggested to police that Bob Crane knew his killer. Police had found blood on the door of John Carpenter's rental car that matched Crane's blood type. And reports of Carpenter arguing with Crane that night prior made him a prime suspect. With no murder weapon or DNA testing, however, he wasn't charged. Then in 1990, Scottsdale detective Jim Raines found a previously overlooked photograph that appeared to show brain tissue in Carpenter's car. The tissue itself was long gone, but a judge ruled the photo admissible. Carpenter was arrested and charged in 1992, but renewed DNA testing of old blood samples proved inconclusive. Furthermore, Carpenter's defense at trial argued that any of the dozens of angry boyfriends or husbands Crane had enraged with his conquest could have killed him. They also brought witnesses who claimed the two men had dined cordially the night before Crane's murder and did not argue. Carpenter was acquitted in 1994 and died in 1998. In 2016, Phoenix TV reporter John Hook wanted to reopen the case and use modern DNA technology to analyze the samples that were taken from the crime scene. If we can retest the stuff, maybe we can prove that the blood that was found in Carpenter's car was Bob Crane's. Although Hook convinced the Maricopa County District Attorney to do so, results proved inconclusive and destroyed the last remaining DNA from Bob Crane's death. For Bob Crane's son, Robert, the mystery of who murdered his father has become a lifelong splinter in his mind, and sometimes he still thinks about who had the most gain from his father's death, Patricia Olson.
Oh, that was his second wife, wasn't it?
She was in the middle of a divorce with my dad. If there's no divorce, she keeps what she gets, and if there's no husband, she gets the whole thing. To his point, Olson had Crane dug up and moved to another cemetery without telling his family.
Oh, that's shitty.
Yeah, and set up a memorial website from which she sold Bob Crane's amateur tapes and nude photographs. But Olson died of lung cancer in 2007, and Scottsdale police have said she was never seriously considered as a suspect. There's still fog, said Robert, and when I say fog, it's that word closure, which I hate. But there is no closure. You live with death for the rest of your life.
Man, she sounds like a piece of shit, too.
Yeah.
Like those nude photographs, that's of women that didn't consent to that shit being shared everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And that is the unsolved murder of Bob Crane. And John Carpenter. What the fuck? That dude's a horror icon.
Sounds like he's also a piece of shit.
Yeah, you reckon?
Damn. And when did he die? Okay,
so yeah, it's not the John Carpenter, so that helps me out a little bit on my... It's not the horror icon John Carpenter.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Yeah, so I don't... Yeah, so I'm not sure which John Carpenter this is. But yeah, don't be a dick and cheat on your spouse or, or
pass around
unsolicited nudes. Yeah, and then you won't get got.
Yeah. Jeez Louise, man.
Okay, so it was John Henry Carpenter. That...
Oh, he's a video equipment salesman.
Yeah. So not the horror icon John Carpenter, but a video...
Different dude.
Yeah. Video equipment salesman John Carpenter. So, yeah, I have no idea who... He had a lot of enemies. And
yeah, sounds like it could have been anyone. Like, the two obvious suspects would obviously be John Carpenter and then his second wife.
Yeah, but
like, my theory is maybe the wife propositioned John since they were having beef and was just like, well, just do him in, and then I can give you some of the money that I get from him, and boom.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been together.
Yeah,
so.
It could have just been like a spur of the moment, like they were in a super bad argument or something, and he just lost his shit for a second.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff happens.
Yeah.
So I looked up, to see if it was the same John Carpenter, and it said that, they tested the DNA evidence and said that it was not from... There was actually 2 different DNAs. That they picked up from John Carpenter's car. And it said that the DNA result from one of them did not match Bob Crane, and the other one that was an unknown source. And so whenever Crane was murdered in 1978, it said he was found dead in a pool of blood in his apartment. He had been bludgeoned to death with a camera tripod and had an electrical cable around his neck. Does that not sound like that would come from someone who does video equipment sales?
Possibly, but also, like, if he already had that stuff in his apartment, and his wife knew about it, I mean, that's wild.
And this is a picture of him. But yeah, so yeah, this is the death of Bob Crane. I couldn't really find too much interesting stuff in Arizona, so I decided to go with this because this was one of the most popular things that happened in Arizona.
Hey, true crime is always...
Oh yeah,
no, that's interesting.
Yeah, bludgeoned to death with a camera tripod.
That must have taken... Okay, so if you want to think about that, though, would his wife... I mean, I guess if she was mad enough, she would have had the strength, too. Because I don't know... Well, I mean, back in the day, would camera tripods have been heavier than what we have now?
Probably, because I know cameras back then were a lot bigger, too.
Okay.
But also to have the strength to do that. And plus, most of the time when women kill, it's not something as vicious. Like, they're more likely to poison their husbands than they are to shoot them.
Yeah, they have I don't want to say clean death, but...
Something not as violent as...
Because I feel like most of the time when women get mad, they are very calculated.
Yeah. And, like, they would be more likely to shoot someone or poison somebody.
But I don't know. I feel like sometimes women just get... I mean, it could have been her. It sounds like John did it, though.
Yeah. I mean, though, he was acquitted, so, I mean, he could go now and be like, oh, hey, yeah, I killed him, and there's nothing they could do.
Well, he died in 98.
I know.
Well, yeah, but...
I'm saying, like, he could have been like, oh, yeah, I fucking killed him.
Yeah.
And there would have been nothing they could do because...
Really?
He was acquitted, so he can't be tried again. It's called double jeopardy. You can't be tried for the same crime twice if you've been acquitted the first time.
Even if evidence proves other... What the fuck is that shit?
Yeah, it's called double jeopardy.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, whenever they do trials for, say, like there's a serial killer, well, they're only going to try for, like, one of the murders. And then if that one gets convicted or found convicted, then, then they get sentenced. But if that one gets found not guilty, then they can try for the next one.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
Because it's two different crimes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, well, that was interesting.
Yeah, it says the clause of the Fifth Amendment says the double jeopardy clause of the Fifth Amendment reflects the pattern of resistance to the arbitrary exercise of sovereign power that underlines other provisions of the Constitution and has recently been the subject of judicial decisions regarding waiver of double jeopardy. The clause provides that no person can be convicted twice of the same offense. This basic concept is found in English common law, although some scholars suggest that the idea has its origins in Roman law. But yes.
That's wild. You would think that something like that wouldn't be able to... Like, especially if you found evidence, rock solid evidence.
Yeah, definitely.
But they are just able to be free because of that.
But I wanted to be a forensic pathologist when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I would still love to do it now, but, so I watched a ton of true crime stuff when I was, younger. Mm-hmm. There was this one case, and I got so pissed off about it because this man had murdered all these women, and I think children too.
Oh, jeez.
And they could not find enough evidence. Mm-hmm. So they went ahead and tried him, and they searched his house up, down, top, bottom, all the way around, mm-hmm. and could not find any rock hard evidence.
Right.
And so they went ahead and tried him anyways.
Why would they do that?
I don't fucking know.
Knowing that if they can't find him guilty 100%, then
But let me finish my story. Anyways, so they tried him and he was acquitted.
God.
Literally a month later, anyways, they found pictures of exactly what they needed.
Oh my God.
In the air ducts.
Oh my God.
In his house. A month later, and there was not a goddamn thing they could do about it.
That is something they need to override that law, because that right there, he's just going to keep doing his shit.
Yeah.
And now he's free to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if he does it again, they can go back and retry him.
Yeah. But found it in the air duct. They found all these pictures, and they could not try him again.
We're going to have to end this episode because I'm getting real pissed off. Wow.
Lord, there's so much shit that I could go off on about with, the judicial system. And
oh, well, yeah, obviously it's super not very greatly put together.
Yeah, there was actually this one that I watched on TV today when I went to my mom's house. There's a show called Fear Thy Neighbor. Mm-hmm. And we watched this one episode, and this man was a complete belligerent idiot. Mm-hmm. Was super abusive to his wife and child. And so the neighbor was actually best friends with his wife mm-hmm. and kid. So she actually helped them get away from him. Mm-hmm. And but she didn't know where they were going. She just took them to where they wanted to, somewhere. I think to the airport is what mm-hmm. they said. Well, then that man started harassing this poor woman every single day.
Jeez.
And stuff. And she was about 5'3", 125 pounds. Mm-hmm. And then he was, I think, 5'5" or whatever, and was 180 pounds. Mm-hmm. A lot bigger than her.
Yeah.
And plus she was 57 years old.
Yeah.
And so anyways, she was getting out of her car, and she had her dog with her. And the dog was like a little schnauzer, not a big dog, nothing. So the man, he kept on like harassing this poor woman, yelling at her and whatnot. And the schnauzer, like, he kept inching closer and closer to her. Mm-hmm. So the schnauzer started like barking at the guy and, doing that, where they rear down and stuff, mm-hmm. like to be like, get the fuck away from my human. Mm-hmm. And so he went to kick the poor dog.
Oh, jeez.
Well, this dumbass falls, right? And it embarrasses himself. And he gets mad at the woman, takes a gun out, and shoots and kills her.
Oh, my God.
Right there. And it was filmed because the people across the road had like a Ring camera.
Shit, yeah.
Well, then, one of the neighbors was outside and saw it. Well, he went over to go help the woman, and then another neighbor man came out and took his gun out and held him at gunpoint until...
Well, good.
Yeah. Well, me being me, I said I would have beat the ever-living shit out of him until the cops got there.
Well, yeah,
curb stomped his ass and been done with it. But anyways, held him at gunpoint until the cops got there. He was out on bail with less than 24 hours. Actually, I think less than 12 hours.
Okay, if you murder someone...
He said it was self-defense.
Whatever. What was she doing?
Yeah, she was literally walking to her house.
It is on video that this man just took his gun out and just shot this poor defenseless woman.
Yeah.
And...
all because, like, her dog was barking.
And her dog's a miniature schnauzer.
They're gonna be protective. I mean,
yeah,
Ozzy
I've also been bit by one of them things.
Yeah.
It's not like they can do a whole lot of damage if they can't get to your face.
Yeah.
Like...
So... But yeah, he shot this poor woman. Because like I said, the dude was a complete douche dick.
Sounds like it.
But he harassed this woman every single day, demanding to know where his wife was. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, maybe if you were a better husband, she wouldn't have left your sorry ass. But anyways,
see, if they have actual evidence, like, as much evidence like that someone murdered something, there should be no bail.
Yeah.
Dude, that should not be allowed.
But that is how fucked up the judicial system is.
So fucking stupid.
And, yeah, but yeah, they have this on camera and everything. Well, and then he went and was on the damn Dr. Phil show less than 2 weeks later. And he's like, well, no, this was funny, though, because... What? He was there in his suit and everything, and he was like, I was scared for my life. I did this in self-defense. And Dr. Phil said, how big was this woman? And he said, and she was 57 years old, and you don't think you could protect yourself from her?
Like without the use of a gun?
Yeah, and Dr. Phil pretty much, I mean, coming from him, because that dude's a little weird. But
well, he's very...
yeah, I know.
Anyways.
But yeah, and he was like, he pretty much told this guy that he was a sack of shit without actually saying he was a sack of shit.
Well, good for him. Because, yeah, like, he's a murderer. Good grief.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the judicial system and how fucked up it is.
Gotta love it.
Where murderers and rapists get to walk free.
Mm-hmm.
That's my rant for the day.
Yeah.
And if you want to hear more rants, let us know.
Hey, look, just subscribe, follow the podcast. You'll hear way more than that.
Yeah, because I got an opinion about everything.
I mean,
So, yeah, if you have any more info on the Bob Crane murder case, or if there's a particular case you would like us to cover, or me to cover, because I'm the one that does this stuff, let us know. And send us pictures of your pets.
Yeah, please. We're going to beg for that probably every episode.
Every single episode.
Yeah, all of our links, our Instagram, all the podcast links, the email and everything is going to be in the show notes.
Yep.
So
Instagram is at teapartywithghosts, and email is teapartywithghosts@gmail.com. And on our Instagram, we have started posting random facts of the day.
Yeah, so we get like daily posts of little interesting or funny tidbits or whatever.
Yeah, like the one that I posted today was, did you know a dime has 118 ridges on its side?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Who went and counted that? Jesus.
Somebody...
very bored.
That went into like a hyper-focused, manic episode, which I do that sometimes.
Well, you know.
So, yeah. But yeah, so we will catch you guys next week.
Yeah.
And Ash will have something weird.
Yeah, I'll have something for us.
Yeah. So, okay, bye.
Bye.